Welcome back to the channel. So I have another stock idea to share for the day here. This is a name that everybody should be aware of. It has not been a great stock for the past few years, but we're seeing some price action today. And even over the course of the last month, that kind of bodes well for the stock moving forward. So let's take a look at it. And it is Baba. They did have earnings earlier today. Let me just bring this on over so we can take a closer look at it. So earnings comes out earlier this morning and relatively mixed. There was a beat on revenue, a miss on earnings. We can see that being depicted by the stock here, where the initial move is lower and then goes back higher. Normally speaking, I'm not a big fan when I see this whiplash happening in the midst of earnings, since then it kind of shows us, okay, well, even the bots can't really figure out whether the numbers are good or bad, and that normally happens when the numbers are coming out. I would prefer it all to be in one direction, because even if there are some positive numbers, it's not enough to overtake the negativity. Because as you see here, clearly some negative numbers are first pushed out and then some positive numbers are pushed out. But fortunately, it didn't take long for it to reverse back lower, which cleans up the chart for me. If it kept on chopping around here, by the way, for the next hour or two, I would not even look at this trade. But the fact that it didn't take long for it to start skidding lower is good. The call is had at 7:30 in the morning Eastern time. It only leads to the stock going lower. Again, I want to see that single directional move in the stock. If it started whiplashing, again, it's like, well, some points could have been made that are positive, some points could have been made that were negative. It's really hard to tell whether or not there's an earnings failure. But I feel like when looking at all of this, you have to walk away with the idea that overall the picture for earnings was not positive. The stock was down 7%. This is all within 3 to 4 hours of earnings coming out. Stock didn't move any higher than what it was before earnings. So I think it's fairly clear that earnings were bad. Now, the moment the cash session opens up, we actually start to build back up, which is what we want to see. And right now, we are not officially yet having an earnings failure because we have to go into the green. But we're getting close to it, which is why I'm making this video. There's a good chance as you're watching this video, it never really does and goes back lower. In that case, well, we could scratch the trade. On the daily chart, let me just get rid of this bar here. You can see the gap down that we had, and we've begun to build it up. We were slightly green for a moment there before going back lower. Normally speaking, the very first attempt to gap fill gets rejected, as you have people that were watching it that are, first of all, people that tried buying the dip and get off at the gap fill, and then you have people that wanted to short Baba, and they don't want to short at 127. They're like, you know what, I'm going to wait for an actual gap fill and short there, and a lot of other shorts are doing the same thing. So when they hit that 129 mark, they're all shorting this right now. And that gives obviously a little bit of pressure here, but at the same time, if we go back and we start testing 129, we start pushing past 129, the same shorts that tried to play this gap fill here, they start getting squeezed and we start moving on higher. So that's one thing to look for. It's always important that when we're looking at the gap fill, we're never really buying that first touch because sometimes the shorts can bring it all the way back down, or vice versa, the buyers can do that. That maybe it was just a gap fill and there's going to be a continuation move back to where it originally began. Okay. But we're currently chilling out here, which is a good sign. Okay. Normally, if there's a rejection, it goes down. That's it. Or up after the gap fill. It doesn't just linger. That's a good sign that maybe we're going to be pushing up, especially if I bring up Nasdaq here. You see the picture for Nasdaq. Nasdaq has not given any bulls any relief today. It chopped around the first 2 hours, went down, made new lows in the cash session. It's bounced back a little bit, going back lower here. Mostly a choppy session since the cash session opened up here. Baba, on the other hand, has been building up, so we can clearly see that there's relative strength here in the stock, especially here as it sits grinding right under that gap fill itself. Okay, let me show you guys something else here. So this is the chart for Baba, the daily chart. One thing I want to point out, and I want to show you why stops are so important when it comes to earning failure strategy. Look at this move right here on May 13. Okay, this is I mean, not even diving into what happened in the pre-market, but we can see that there's a possibility that this was an earnings failure that occurred here, right? Gapped lower off the back of earnings. I can see there must have been some misses here, misses on both ends. Rocketed up, okay? Look at this move here, holy hell. Okay, 10% up on the day, which I would have been in because I've told you before, I do get into earnings failures, intraday partial positions, because sometimes you get a massive reversal the other way. But that is it. The trade dies off. Okay, for some reason or another. Now, I was not there to play this particular. I did not play Baba back then. I'm not sure why. Must have missed it. But for one reason or another, it just had a very, very quick fail. Right, the very next day, it had this kind of like inside day here, not doing much, and then just sold everything off. And we would have inevitably been stopped out, let's say, on that same week on Friday, the very next day. That's it. And you see what happens. The stock completely just, the bottom falls off. That's why you have to respect the stops here, right? Our thesis is dead at that point in time. Our thesis looked good on Wednesday, and then 2 days later, it's dead, okay? So here we are again, okay? So we might, even today, I mean, we have 3 hours left in the day as I make this video. It's 1:13 p.m. Maybe we start pushing higher, above 130, above 132. Great, it looks good, but we have to be mindful that it may just last for the day. Okay, we're using earnings failures and those levels to give us a good level to base our risk on. But here's what I want to show you. I want to show you, we're going to compare BABA to the Qs, which I feel like it's going to be its closest comparison here. So the Qs are at the bottom, okay? Once again, BABA has not traded well, so we can see the sideways action that BABA had up there. Nasdaq also had over here before Nasdaq made some lows here in April. BABA was also selling down, but as the Qs began to build back up this late spring, BABA did not really, right? And then BABA ends up actually bottoming here while the Qs were close to their highs, okay? Now, starting July, the Qs begin to roll down. And what does BABA do? BABA actually begins to build from that point on. That's when it actually begins to get some traction. The Qs are making lows. This is the lows, the AI scare, when we saw so many AI stocks being sold off, being down 40, 50%. Nasdaq is making lows here. BABA is chilling. I mean, look at the price action here. That as all this fear is hitting the tape here, BABA is not doing anything. It's just chilling at 115. And then as the Qs start to recover, BABA legs up a little bit higher. And as the Qs start trading sideways and now begin to trade lower, as it begins to trade lower now, BABA is still, I mean, chilling, right? It's not trading lower. I mean, as we just went over this, it's showing strength today. You know, Nasdaq is down 60 basis points today as I have this conversation with you guys. BABA had poor earnings. It's filling the gap. I mean, it's only down 20 basis points today. So it's been trading well. If we're looking for a spot of relative strength for the past month, I mean, we're seeing it. We're looking at it right now. And I think today is another day where BABA is proving it to us that there are buyers here. And that if you're looking to get long the market, getting long, you know, obviously the Qs, the ETF, it looks a little tricky right now. It's been a few days of obviously this market's traded a little bit lower here. We've seen some AI stocks pulling back again. Not much, but it's been pulling back again. But BABA's been holding up strong, and today I think it's a good day for it, where it's showing us this additional strength. Now again, it all comes down to where it closes today, because that is how we manage our risk. But I want to point this out to you guys, because I will likely build a position up in BABA if we end up closing in the green today, especially with how the markets are trading today. I love to see it. I love to see the markets red the way they are. And to see an earnings failure occur where we have to go long a stock that is going green while the markets are in pain. I mean, as we have this conversation, I mean, they're making lows on the day right now. As you see here, these are the SPOOs making lows, and Nasdaq hasn't made lows in the day, but it's somewhere there. Russell is making lows in the day. It's a tough day for the market. It's a tough day for the market overall. Just taking a quick look at the list here. But BABA, what is BABA still doing? I mean, BABA's trading 5 basis points lower. That's 12 basis points lower, you know. So again, if you're looking to go long the market something, you want to go long, Baba is not a bad spot to be going long. You know, it's holding up pretty fine today. I had the previous video from earlier today. If you haven't had a chance to watch it, it spoke about Sweet Green. Sweet Green is also doing the same thing. It's trading sideways the whole day here. Not really listening to what the overall market is doing, which is the fact that it's all dumping. Yeah, SPOOs are still making lows on the day. But that's my suggestion. So Baba looks super interesting. I will be putting a trade on depending on how it closes today. If it's down 20 basis points while the markets are down 60, 70 basis points, I'm probably still going to put that trade on because I have to use the overall context of the market. Context being, it's a lot of selling pressure out there today. Obviously, that's going to flow into Baba, but it's still held up pretty fine. But that's my video. If you enjoyed it, throw me a like, subscribe for more content such as this one. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you so much.